Let me along to your totally nude island. You took mine, you took my hand. Let me astray that day I'm totally nude island.
Once you hear the mesmerizing calls of the rarest of exotic birds, you become totally consumed by passion. Totally consumed by passion. Put on a strategically placed shell, raise a little hell. Frolic in the surf, sand and turf, on totally new island.
Darling, show me love, tell me lies. You do something to me, make it all through the night. Touch me once, kiss me twice. You do something to me on this isle of desire.
Kissed by eternal sun, kissed by eternal sun. A few miles north of the Tropic of Desire. Elliott New Island. Elliott New Island. Elliott New Island. Elliott New Island.
Let me along to your totally nude island. Let me astray to your totally nude island. Let me along to your totally nude island.
Live, welcome. We're back in live. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 42. I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Charlie from CultivateCrypto.com. Happy New Year, pal.
Happy New Year,
Good
buddy.
to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
I bought Charlie a very expensive gift from the United States of America. I got him a $1 box of nerds.
Oh, it's gonna be delicious.
Rainbow nerds, because you're a rainbow. we too bad we don't have the gay pride beer that you saw in Minnesota.
Oh, dude, there's some what do you call it? What do you call that shit? Backwards cultural shocker. What's that thing called again? Reverse culture shock. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Man, like looking back, I'm just like, man, they'll sell anything on this beer just to get people to buy.
Like I think one of the funniest memes is like,
are we out of focus?
let me see. No, it looks like we're good.
Okay, maybe it's this.
It's just I think it's the green screen. But I think one of the funniest memes I saw was like, there's like a SpongeBob interview and they're like, hey, all you companies, why are you like supporting Gay Pride Week and everything in the month of June? And then they give the microphone back to the guy and he's like, for money. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's great how people think companies are virtuous or
Yeah.
like, or banks or anything. Well, we're going to talk all about that today.
Oh God, I mean, how much ammo do you need on these banks?
Should we just talk about how, okay, well,
I mean, this is a good, kind of starter convo.
let's
wanna go
talk
there.
about what's been going on with the corrupt ass banks. Not even focusing in on like how even when I was stranded in fucking goddamn San Francisco because of all my flight errors, try to book a flight with United, and because the charge was over $3,000, they were like, "Oh, sorry, you need to call and verify this." And so then I had to go call some Indian call center, and then the Indian call center was shut down, so I had to wait. So I had to use another card, and I just fucking hate the banks, dude. I just anything corporate or mainstream, I just despise it. And anybody who likes that shit is probably fucking an idiot or working for those establishments.
Yeah, and even the people working for those types of banks or or the government, usually, not always, but usually, if they are paying attention, they see the shit that goes, or at least a portion of the shit which goes on behind the scene, and it turns them off from it, to be honest.
It's just there's nothing the only people the talented people are flooding away from corporates, entities, and everything. And that just leaves the idiots to run the show, and that fucks it up for the talented people. We gotta like create a system, get out of it. I don't know.
Well, that's the whole beauty of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all this shit. It's a way to vote with your wallet, a way to vote with your ideals as well. If you're a person who appreciates self-sovereignty, controlling your own money, actually understanding what is money and how to control that, then Bitcoin is for you. I would say that's probably not most people. A lot of people, if you were to say, hey, do you want to be your own bank or do you want to control your own money 100%? Most people would say that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Which it is. And so a lot of people tend to go towards what's easy and convenient. And usually you pay quite a hefty price for, doing everything in the fast and convenient way.
When you outsource anything to somebody else, they will never care as much about that as you. So, that's a big problem that I've noticed with mainstream media, banking, and all these things. And I mean, here we are, but I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I can't say. I'm doing okay financially. So, I mean, fuck these people. I mean, fuck this nonsense. But I still stand by my original statement that we made in 2019. Now it's 2020. 2020, year of plenty. And I still stand by my initial statement saying that every man should own at least one Bitcoin. I think
Easily.
And I still think we had the highs and lows of whatever happened last year, but more importantly, I think that just with what's going on with governments and corporations and banks all kind of like circling the wagon and really trying to bleed the last couple of dollars out of the people. I mean, I personally think we're on the brink of a change, but at the same time, I could be very wrong because,
well,
I don't know anymore.
The house of cards that the stock market and that the Federal Reserve and that the current financial system that does govern the world is built upon wants to be perpetuated, right? It doesn't want to be stopped.
Yeah.
So they will do anything and everything to keep that system going.
Like attack Iran.
Sorry?
Like attack Iran.
Well, it's obviously correlated, but I don't think.
Got to get the re-election.
Yeah, there's a bunch. It could be a lot of things in that bag of tricks. I don't even want to go there, but I mean, wars, are a part of it. But not even going into that subject. Just basically, the Federal Reserve is printing billions of dollars every week, right?
Every week, really?
Every week.
Good Lord.
I think. Sometime, I can't remember exactly the timelines, but over the holidays there's something crazy like 60 some billion dollars printed, and there was like over $1 trillion in funds lost in the United States, which people are just like, oh, we don't know where that money went. But anyways, like the quantitative easing, aka repo market, which is going on right now, is one of the last tricks that the federal government has in order to keep perpetuating the system, right? And so, they're going to keep printing money as much as possible. But I even mentioned this, to one of my older relatives over the holidays. And the first thing she said was, well, what does that do for the value of the US dollar? Clearly.
Jesus Christ. Did she really ask that question?
No, she was asking it rhetorically.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I was like, good
and so,
Lord.
She answered her own question, basically, which is obviously if you, have, as much money being printed as possible,
right?
That's not a sustainable model for success, clearly. Right. And so, it's just one of those things where you got to be taking care of your own if you want to be in, the financial game for the long haul. And one of the ways to do that is through a hedge against the financial system, which gold is a good hedge. But the only problem with gold is it is a lot more manipulatable. At the moment, people can manipulate it a lot more. They have been through for several years, keeping the price down. They are doing the same thing with Bitcoin through the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. But, that only started at the end of 2017. So they've only been doing that to Bitcoin for a few years, as opposed to gold for, decades. So they're going to keep pulling these tricks. And I do believe the price of Bitcoin is suppressed from where it should be. But
Even now? What do you think? What do you think it should be?
Well, the cost of production is anywhere between $6,400 and $7,400. So the price just at the beginning of the new year, which is around $7,200, is basically the cost of production, right? So if the cost of production is equal to the actual price, then that's a one-to-one. That's a good thing. But what tends to happen in Bitcoin is people get speculative, so the price usually goes higher, right? But right now, people are generally down on Bitcoin and down on cryptocurrencies. So having the price somewhat close to what the cost of production is not surprising. And even before the halving, having a price even lower than the cost of production is possible. And that would actually shake out a lot of the miners who are, smaller miners who don't have the ability to, keep running their hardware for a long period of time if they're kind of breaking even or even minus a few dollars. So watching what the miners do this year is what I've been saying in the last couple of months, but watching exactly what the miners are doing is extremely important. And what are they doing right now? They're building up their infrastructure. They're building new mining rigs. They're expanding. So they're preparing, and they know that the second half of 2020 is going to be fucking amazing, in my opinion.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Christian Veno has a question. He says, how quickly and how much do you guys predict BTC will increase throughout this year? Last year, I called it at 15,000.
Yep.
And I was
and
short.
That was back in like May of last year. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah,
right?
it was still. No, it was Q1. Body language mastery.
Okay.
Remember, it was around Q1. And we hit what? Like we're just shy of 14,000.
Exactly, like 13,900.
I got to say, my vision is cloudy for 2020. I don't have my intuitive ninja powers right now.
Yeah, and for me, the number I would go towards for 2020 is, I would say, minimum 15, but probably more realistically would be 25, 30.
Oof, really? You think that all-time high?
Oh, yeah, within this year.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks.
Laying down those chips. But
right.
I don't think it's that much of a stretch at all. I mean, getting up to, the 14,000 mark last year did not take a lot of effort.
No,
for the
it's
Bitcoin
too
market.
easy.
And with the halving coming in, a lot of people say the halving is priced in, meaning that everybody's expecting the halving to happen, including the miners. So the reduction in supply is already accounted for, which if you think a market is logical, then you don't understand the psychology of human beings, right?
Right.
So logically, that would make sense. Logically, the market should already understand that this is going to happen and that should be baked into the price, but it usually isn't.
Most people can't even spell Bitcoin.
Well, most people don't think more than 2 months out either.
Fucking 2 months is fucking very generous.
I got a perfect meme for you in this case. Which button is
Top
it?
left.
So I'll let you read this one.
So it says, me, I look forward to the Bitcoin halving in 2020. My friends, Bitcoin what? So if you guys, who knows what the Bitcoin halving is in the chat? If you know what the Bitcoin halving is in the chat, I want you guys to press the number 1. If you don't know what the Bitcoin halving is, press the number 2. Is Bitcoin now a safe haven? I wouldn't agree with that yet.
So, yeah, it hasn't proven itself to be yet. It's had a couple of moments where it looks like it is, but it is a hedge against the financial system. If you think a hedge is a safe haven, that's, I think you can correlate the two. So I would lean towards yes, but not proven.
So it looks like we got 6 people. So there's 17 people watching live right now. 6 pressed yes, and of the 6, 1 is extra guac in the Telegram chat?
No, he is not. Tony is.
Just Tony, right?
Yep. And yeah, but a lot of these guys are, they've been watching this show quite a while. I think it's funny. Ethereal Warrior is still learning, apparently. I thought ETH was Ethereum at first, but it's ethereal. I get what he's going for. Simon's waiting for the moon to happen.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, it seems like a lot of our guys are paying attention. I think we did an episode specifically on what the halving is last year. So if you just type in Modern Life Dating Bitcoin halving,
Tokyo Crypto Show
or Tokyo, yeah, that's right. Tokyo Crypto Show, Bitcoin halving.
Yep.
We got a whole episode on exactly all the details of what the halving is.
Basically, right now with the miners are the people who control the the logging of all the transactions that happen in the Bitcoin network, and every time they fill up one block, and one block I believe was 1 megabyte, 2 megabytes,
I believe 1.
1 megabyte of data.
And it takes about it averages out to be about 10 minutes per per block.
So every 10 minutes, 12 Bitcoin is released into the Bitcoin ecosystem. That number is going to be permanently reduced to 6 by 50% coming in May. So for you guys that understand the law of supply and demand, when the supply of something, which means the available quantity of something, gets reduced, the demand, which is basically the price is going to go up. So,
well, and even if the demand stays where it's at and the supply reduces, the price goes up, right? And so once the price goes up,
I didn't know that actually. That's very good.
Yeah, that once the price goes up, that'll increase demand, and that builds on itself, right? So it's kind of a virtuous cycle as well.
Yeah. So that's happening this year. It happens every 4 years, and like I said, we made this show in basically the tail end of the bear market because we wanted to build credibility and talk about cryptocurrency while it's technically not cool.
Yeah, and a lot of people
talk about it.
Yeah, and a lot of people during that time, even who were in crypto a while, had already thrown their chips in, gave up, capitulated basically, and said, well, nothing, we're going nowhere. Whereas at that time, we'd been paying attention just as much as other people in the community, but we decided, hey, let's talk about this. Let's start it this time, which is surprising that so many people were giving up around that time, in my opinion, because we saw what was going to happen in 2019. I thought breaking up above 10,000 would be a lot last year. But we saw at least, a good push up, which we saw more than we expected last year as well.
In the summer of all times as well, too. I was expecting more towards the end of the year, but we had a pretty solid year.
Yep.
So coming in 2020, this is how we feel in regards to that. We wish you that you guys have the strength of this stool and the faith of this lovely dog. 2020 is the year of plenty, and I am thinking, I don't know, I think I just might be a filthy normie and just piggyback on your behavior and be like, yeah, I think 25,000 seems like a good number, like 25, 30. Hopefully people get real crazy and it goes to 50.
Well, the aim by the end of 2021, the aim, depending, the aim is 100,000 or 90,000, roughly somewhere between there, 90 to 100,000, right?
That would be nice. That would put a nice little piece of change in my pocket.
Yep, and that would be like the top of a bull market, and then a breakdown from 100,000 down to like 30, right?
Jesus. Could you imagine buying a $90,000 Bitcoin? There's going to be idiots out there that do it.
Oh, most people will be happy to at that time. Yeah, most people will want to. So, I mean, get in the mind of most people, even though they don't realize it consciously, they think that if it's a higher value, it's worth more, right? Or however you want to look at that. But that meme right there is a little bit pessimistic in that, you need to have the faith of that dog. But I don't know. I think if you look at the numbers, breaking into a new all-time high is not a problem. But the one difference that we have now in this bull market between this bull market and the last one is in the last bull market, we had a non-touched, it was still like a pure asset in a way because Wall Street was not mixed in the game yet. As soon as the CME came in December of 2017, they basically admitted that they were trying to pop the Bitcoin bubble or the Bitcoin bull market at that time, right? They admitted it about a year and a half after the fact.
God, I hate those fucking people.
Yeah, but once you get Wall Street in the game, they're going to try to undercut. The government's going to try to undercut as well. But as long as it's still thriving, despite that, then, it just takes longer to get to those, higher valuations, basically.
It's, I just say it's going to be a good, it's still, in my opinion, a good time to get your hands on one piece of Bitcoin. And that being said,
I'm going to stick by what I was saying throughout all of 2019 as well. or at least since we broke this number in 2019, anything under $10,000 is a great buy.
Yep.
So right now, the last like 2 months, great buy.
Looks like Brent's back with his comments. A lot of people will buy at 90K thinking it goes to 250K. Yeah, I got some Bitcoin to sell for you that's going to go to 250K. Come on down.
I'll sell you at 250K 2 years early.
Yeah, I got you. I got you on that one. Let's check out this one. Let's fire up that meme. Here we got. Go ahead.
All right, this is start of a beautiful thing. So this is what Coinbase.
Nice try, Coinbase.
Coinbase is trying to do to you.
Probably the worst fucking platform out there to buy Bitcoin on.
Well, it's most convenient for Americans because the United States government is trying to make it hard for people to on-ramp into Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's why, non-KYC, non-know your customers, basically anywhere where you can't use an ID like Binance or KuCoin, they basically ban those without it, getting a VPN. But anyways, Cindy from Coinbase says, thanks for creating a post on our support. Do you have any case ID'd? And this guy here just says, sure, you want my password and login and to come over and fuck my wife as well. Want everything, right?
Oh, Lord.
But then they want your date of birth. They want your, maybe your social security, proof of address, all this stuff, so that they can basically track you.
Good Lord.
It's, if you can avoid it, it's great. But to keep your anonymity does take work. It's not.
I hate them all. I really, I love buying cryptocurrency through the Bread wallet. It's just, It's simple. You put your information in and you have your cryptocurrency like instantaneously, the way it should be. Guys, if you're out there waiting even 24 hours, dude, even 5 hours for your cryptocurrency, you're getting fucking bamboozled.
Yeah, and most people buy once there's a price, like volatility, right? Like today, the price went from like 7,500 to 8,300.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
One more thing we're gonna talk about. This is hilarious. This meme made me fucking die laughing. For all you guys that are altcoin holders, we had the next alt season. We have T-Rex 67 million years ago. Then we got now, and then we got the heat death of the universe, where all life will cease to exist. And then we got alt season right here.
That's when you get your Lambos.
That's when you get your fucking altcoin Lambos. So just wait on for the heat death of the universe, and you'll get yours. Stay with us now for all you guys that think that you're not picking up on this or whatnot. You're not going to learn this cryptocurrency stuff overnight. And if this is confusing and difficult to you,
that's a good thing.
It's good, and it's probably infinitesimally far more difficult to the average normies out there, which means you can leverage this as a skill and bring it to the market yourself.
Yeah, 99% of people basically know nothing about cryptocurrency besides the word Bitcoin, right?
The cryptocurrency education market is ripe for the taking.
Yeah, and so I think anybody who understands even 50% of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is head and shoulders above anybody else. And what actually I saw with our show last year, right, is the level of conversation with the people in our groups is getting a lot higher.
Yes.
At the beginning of the year, a lot of the guys that I had consultations with were simply they hadn't seen the show, they hadn't really looked into it, and they were just like, first, what is it? Is it going to survive? And then how do I get some?
Yeah.
Right. And then the questions changed from that to, okay, I already understand the basics of it. I believe in it. And then they're starting with, how do I get some? And then how do I start leveraging that either in trading or in hodling, those things? What's my strategy, right?
Right.
And so they went kind of one level up in terms of discourse just from what we've been telling people online. And so what I tell everybody who watches this show and everybody who watches my show as well, simply all you need to do is for 15 minutes a day for 6 months. And you can exclude weekends, just 5 days a week, 15 minutes, 5 days a week. Watch this portion of this show or information that we recommend to you, and you'll understand everything you need to know within 3 to 6 months. I think Cody was one of our earliest guys who paid attention to our show. He made a good amount of money with Bitcoin. He still is, still doing so in our Telegram group or in my Telegram
I'm actually
group.
shocked at his progress, but in a good way.
Well, he does exactly what we told him in terms of simply just paying attention, 15 minutes a day, just a little bit, and then doing what we tell. Right. And that's created a great success for him and only going to continue, right? And so that's all you need to do. It's pretty simple.
Let's talk about these zones here that you have charted out that have been pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah, lots of beautiful colors, lots of confusing lines on here, right? So let's make it simple. All right. So in my Telegram group, the stuff we were talking about over the course of the holidays was basically this movement here. Now, the movement over the last probably 24 hours is a bit higher than expected, so I'll tell you two ways to look at this. So let's just start with this, right? So
Because Bitcoin had pretty big surge within the last 24 hours, yeah?
Exactly.
Went up almost 1,000.
So yeah, it was here at about 7,500, and then over the last 24, 48 hours, yeah, it went up about $1,000, and then it's come down a bit since then. And so I'll just start with what we were looking at in my group from December 18th, right? So we saw a cycle low here, which is every 60 days, you get a new Bitcoin cycle, roughly. And so we had a 60-day cycle low around the 23rd, 24th of October, meaning the next one should come around Christmas. It came just about a week before Christmas on the 18th. And then we've been looking at, okay, when can we hit these areas of high before getting knocked down and then coming back into this space for the next cycle low? Should we not break out of this? So the question here is we were expecting this to test at least 8,000.
Right.
And then we were looking at this level here. If you look at this box, which I put out way back earlier in the year, is still holding true in terms of support and resistance. We have here at the bottom 7,800, 7,835. Here at the top, about 8,300. So this area I would call is support resistance. Think of it like molasses, right? When you're coming up, it's hard to get through. When you're coming down, it's hard to break down. Right? And so we broke up into that, and I expected a firm rejection either here or here, right? And why is there a red line and a green line? Basically, if you look from the trend, downtrend from the end of June 26th until today, there are two ways to look at it. You can draw this red line here, which goes across the top of the candles, meaning the full body candles, hits the top of them here, and then slices through the one we just went through. Or you can look at it from the top of the wicks. Wicks meaning the short-term price action, kind of this thin, it didn't close on this price. It just had this price for less than a day and then went back down, right? So you have a wick here and a wick forming here. So if you go by the wicks on the top, if you go by the candle bodies, we broke through that, right? Pretty well. But if you go by the tops of the wicks, we still actually have the area here probably in the next 24 hours. The price to look for would be about 86.50. So if Bitcoin right now were to break above 8,300 and then 86.50 for more than 24 hours, and especially more than 3 days, that would be extremely bullish.
Right.
Right. And then we would be looking for a breakout. But we're still in this molasses here. So what we've been expecting is we do have a cycle low here, and we are breaking above into this cycle high. Where do we get the cycle high will determine how this next 30 to 40 days plays out.
Did this shock you, this price pump upwards?
No, not really. I think
You kind of called for it. You said there's a move coming soon.
Well, yeah, I told everybody in our group, basically the low is December 18th. We'll be moving up since then. I expected a rejection around 8,000, 8,100.
But it kept on going through, man.
But it kept on going through, and that's where we're looking at the wicks rather than the bodies.
Right.
So when we're looking at the bodies, we'd get rejected here around 8,000. If we look at the wicks, 8,600. So about a $600 difference is not that big in Bitcoin. And so what we're looking for now is, okay, where do we get that rejection? Right now, we're getting it pretty stiffly at 8,300.
Right.
We only have that short-term price action above there. So, we're going to try to knock on the area between 83 and 86 here over the next couple of days. And then I think we break back down into at least back into this area around 6,500, which would pop a lot of people's bubbles. A lot of people think right now that this breakout is going to continue. But this could be a kind of a bull trap. So we wait and see. But if we did break, we've already broken through two areas. One is 7,800. The next one is 8,000. So the last two that we have to break through in order to be fully bullish is 8,300 and then 86 or 86.50.
So 86, then what happens?
then you have to stay above that within for a couple of days, right? And if it sustains that for at least a few days and then at least a week, then we see potentially breaking above 9,000 within January. But I'd see that as still a long shot at this moment.
Interesting.
And so if you're looking to get into Bitcoin, what I would do is, if you haven't ever bought any Bitcoin, there's no better time than the present, right? Always buy a little bit when you can. But then find areas within here that you like, right? So maybe this first area you get in at 8,300, the next area 78, the next area maybe 7,000, and find 4 or 5 areas where you can put buys in so that you average your price over a period of time and over a period of price, so that you don't get all in on one specific price. Because when people get in on one specific price, they tend to get very emotional about that specific price. When it goes below that area, they freak out. When it goes above that area, they get greedy.
I know a guy like that. Sometimes I get real crazy and emotional when shit goes crazy, and I have to go into the Telegram chat. I'm like, Charlie, Luca, sort me out, man. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I think we both put a pretty good.
Did this guy
thing in you today.
Did
What's
this guy come through before I am correct? He says,
he jumped in here. I remember last year there was something we wanted a screenshot of his because he was looking.
He was blatantly wrong. He says, I'm still looking for Bitcoin to drop to high 3,000s to mid 4,000s. Bitcoin must drop lower before it shoots up this year. Don't lose hope. Buy at low prices and jump for joy this summer fall. Bitcoin ain't going any lower.
He said that exact same thing, I think, back in.
Is this guy a copy pasta?
He could be. But at the same time, I like his optimism.
That's not optimistic, is
no,
it?
the second half is optimistic.
Second half is.
Right. So
I do remember just my memory kicking in that this guy was just talking out his ass, quite honestly. No offense to you, pal.
Well, it's the same. I don't think we'll ever get back down into the 4,000 area. I think that'd be pretty ridiculous. One thing that's good about this actually being higher than 8,000 right now is that on a breakdown, it doesn't go quite as low, right? If this thing were to only have gone up, let's say here, back up to like 7,700 and then have broken down, I think the lows would get much steeper, right? Maybe down to 5,000, for example. Whereas now that it's getting a little bit higher, once it breaks down, the breakdown also will not go quite as low, maybe to high 5,000s.
Pretty interesting, though, because since it broke past 62, when was that? That was like in May. It pretty much stayed above 62 for...
Well, it stayed above this 6,500 zone.
That's the zone I'm looking.
The entire time, right? So from May 11th.
Before the halvening. So we got a chart for you here. So take a look at what we got here. So Bitcoin's inception theoretically was 2009, but we really got tracking starting in 2010. So take a look at that. In 2010, the low was 6 cents. In 2010, the high was 20 cents. Now, look at the jump even from 2010 to 2011. Imagine if you bought, let's just say you got crazy and you bought $5,000 worth at 6 cents, right?
Yep.
You want to use your calculator because I'm live streaming on my phone.
Go for it. 10,000 at 6 cents?
Yeah, let's say 10,000 divided by 6 cents. It's going to give you 600 shares.
600 Bitcoin, yep.
600 Bitcoin, then times 28.92.
$17,000.
That's not bad. $7,000 for just touching your computer a couple times. Santiago says, can barely hear you guys. Santiago, I'm talking dead into the microphone. I don't know. Can none of you guys hear us, or what's the deal?
If we want to look on the OBS,
it's
all ranked up, right?
It's all maxed out. I don't know. But anyways, I mean, that's a quick $7,000 right there in one
calendar year.
1 calendar year. It's not a lot of money, but you know.
No, but if you do that consistently, right? So if you take that 600 Bitcoin and not have touched it until, let's say, Bitcoin got to $10,000.
Santiago can't even spell barely correct. I can barely hear you guys. I hope English is your second language.
It's probably just his specific device because Jacob's fine.
Jacob's fine. Spencer's fine. Philip's fine. So
It's all good. But
Check your eyes and ears, motherfucker.
this thing, I mean, you can make a good amount of money in Bitcoin in 1 year, but you can make also really good amount of money over, half a decade or,
Even a decade.
even a whole decade, right?
I know
And-
he's like a little crazy, but Tony Robbins says, most people underestimate what they can do, or they overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
Yep. And it's that consistent action, that 15 minutes a day, devoting like, okay, I'm going to put $1,000 into crypto today. I'm not going to touch it for 2 years. I'm going to learn 15 minutes a day for the next 2 years about crypto. That could sound like almost no work to some people and a shit ton of work to other people. Which category do you fall in?
Yep.
Which one is going to be more successful, right? Are you going to spend that $1,000 on Christmas gifts for people you don't really like?
Smoking weed,
Drinking
driving
booze,
beer, drinking booze. You know how
going
many
on
people?
cruises,
People
whatever.
have spent $1,000. I've spent $1,000 in alcohol last year. That's for sure.
Easily.
Yeah, that makes me feel bad now. I should have fucking invested that in Bitcoin.
Exactly. I mean, it's these New Year's resolutions, right? How many people can actually keep them, right? Some people smoke so many cigarettes, right?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that just like put so much in, they put more into the tarring of their lungs so they have a whole highway down in there versus, investing in something, right? So, you can progress in different ways in life. Which is it going to be positive or is it going to be consumerism?
Oh Lord, I am correct. Says I've been in since 2012. Crypto is the future. Letting people know to look for a great BTC bargain coming up is me helping you. Okay, buddy. You listen. If Bitcoin hits $4,000, I'll personally buy you one fucking Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
It's not hitting $4,000.
I know. It's just one of those things where it's, yeah.
Guy Hancher has a question. Says, does Bitcoin follow Elliott Wave equation?
Hell yeah.
Are you using software that predicts 5 growth steps?
No, I do. I don't use software to track Elliott Wave. I use my own analysis to track Elliott Wave, which I'm pretty sure most people do. I mean, you could use software you could write a script for okay, where's wave 1, where's wave 2 on the long term scale. With Elliott Wave, and I guess we can show our screen, right?
Yeah.
What you do with Elliott Wave, and probably this guy is familiar with that. First, you want to change it from a daily chart to like a weekly chart. Look on the biggest time frame possible, which is this. It's going to look a little messy here, but it's this blue line here. So we have wave 1. The wave 2 is down here, but it's not. It's just a little skewed, so we can view it better. Wave 3, wave 4, and we're going into this positive wave 5, right? And so that gives us a wave 1, and it's going to look real messy here because of the short-term stuff that I got going on. And wave 1, we're finishing up this wave 2, and then we're getting into the wave 3 of the wave 5 for this first full Bitcoin bull cycle, right?
So this low for wave 4 is going to be like what, do you think? You have it like at 17 or so.
Basically, I have wave 3. This is just a guesstimate.
Of course.
Based on the data of what we have here of a 14,000 increase. But we could, for wave 3, get up to 50, 60,000 per Bitcoin. The wave 4 does not go below below the top of wave 1. So that would be somewhere above 14,000, probably above 20,000. And then wave 5, anybody's guess in terms of how high that goes. I have this area targeted here between 90 to 100K around the end of 2021. Now, the thing which I want to talk about for today's show before we get too far gone is, right, we talked about these yearly basically price lows and highs. And if you look at the lows, right, if you just look at the lows for Bitcoin, $4, $75, $200, 1 year it was actually down, right, 200 to 185, which is not a big percentage drop on the low.
And the year didn't even close on that either.
Right, it was just the low within that year.
Right.
And then 365, 780, damn, 3,200.
Yep.
And 2019's low was about 3,320.
It's on the other one, yeah, 33.
No, I don't believe it is because these aren't updated.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, it is 3,390.
$3,391 is the lowest price Bitcoin has been in the 2019. And 2020, what are we at? Like 6,500 so far?
Yeah, so for 2020, the low is like 7,200 so far.
Praise the Lord. We got Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife said, spent over $5,000 in chicken last year for my protein and realized now I could be a millionaire by 40 if I just choose a different hobby and invested at the same into long term. Spencer said, excuse me. Spencer said, spent well over $1,000 on drugs and alcohol last year. When you put it like that, I feel bad too. Yeah, you're a cheapskate, Spencer. You didn't even join Body Language Mastery. You didn't join Charlie's Telegram group. You're talking about how you're Mr. Big Baller, but you're not even investing in yourself. And, oh, Lord. Good Lord. You're giving me a headache, Spencer. But,
And before we finish up, one thing I do want to mention is, so along with these yearly lows, the other price to pay attention to is what was the price before and after each halving.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yep. So the first halving was around the end to middle of November. Here I have it as around November 22nd, 2012. And the price at that halving was about $11 or $11 to $12, right? And the price low from before that halving was $2.20 some cents. So $2.20 some cents to $11 took about 371 days. Okay, before that halving, so about a year. And then from that halving to the high after the halving, which is about at $1,100. So $11 to $1,100. It's a pretty good gain.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. So that's
What
just
is that, like 1,000% increase?
so, yeah, more than that, maybe 10,000. I mean, here from the bottom of $2 to the top here of 1,100 is a 53,000% increase.
Wow.
And that also from the end of the halving until that price high, it took about another year, a little bit over, right? So if you were just to have bought at the halving, that would be a good price. But if you're in before, that's even better. Now, if you look at the next halving, which was around the early part of July 2016, right? The price at that time was about $650. And the low before that price was about $144. Okay, so 144 to 700 or 650 is not a huge increase, but after the halving, right, that took about 542 days, 545 days, and it was actually pretty proportional, right? So the second half after the halving was about the same, which was similar here. So 360, 372.
It's almost too easy looking at this shit.
Well, this is because Bitcoin's young. So it's the same with sports. Records are meant to be broken. Right, so anything can change. So these are patterns which we see now. They don't have to continue, but I think it's worthwhile looking at what the pattern has been so far.
For sure.
And so the pattern here is before and after the halving was relatively equal in duration, and after the halving was a lot more productive in terms of price. The next one only went up. So this went up 53,000%. This one went up 12,000%.
So that's roughly a 75% reduction.
Right. And
so if we reduce, so what's the let's just be crazy here. So what's the price there? That's 19,000.
So this is at this price here is 19,952.
So let's say that let's say the 12,000 is decreased by 75%. So that's gonna put. What do you think? That's gonna put
go like 3,000 to 4,000%, right?
So So how do we increase the current price by 3,000%?
And it's not even the current price. That's from the beginning of the low, right? So that would be from the 3,100. Right. So if we were to go here from the 3,100, roughly around to here, there we go. We're to say, let's say 3,000%. That's what gets us right to our target of 100,000.
God damn, that's like you said, like 90,000. Dude, if that comes true, you're gonna be crypto Nostradamus.
Dude, I'm already there. You just don't believe me yet.
I gotta say, I am skeptical about the 90K, but you believe in this like I believe in myself, like that level of delusion.
Well,
I love it.
Here's the one thing that's different about this time compared to the last two times, and like I said, it's like sports. Records are meant to be broken either to the upside or to the downside, and so what is the difference between this cycle and the last two cycles? Is that basically we have Wall Street playing this game. Yeah. So like I said at the beginning of the show, the price of Bitcoin is trying to be suppressed and has been somewhat successful since the end of 2017.
I hate those fucking
from
assholes.
the CME. So if you were to ask me if the CME and if Wall Street was not involved with Bitcoin, I would probably be going higher than these. Now, if I would be really pessimistic and say, okay, the CME is going to try to short this, is going to try to undercut this. Basically, they're creating contracts that, are just paper, but people are treating them as real Bitcoin, so inflating the supply, which, decreases the price. So if people are stupid enough to, think that buying a CME future, somebody asked, do I trade futures? Hell no. You can use it to hedge, but, I don't really get into that. But if you think what you're buying, hold the cryptocurrency, right? A lot of these people who are on Wall Street. So normie's going to norm.
Yeah.
But here, so you see the duration, right? So let's put this duration out another 528, or let's do 550 bars, 550 days, right? So here we had a similar duration, right? 542, 545, 525, right?
And these are days represented on the calendar year, yeah?
Right. And so
So 528 days.
from the low to the halving, we also got here, let's say it's proportional, so 528, and we get another proportional bar. That would put us at the high here, and this doesn't even give me a date, god damn it, because
It's well into 2021.
Yeah, it's about the second half of 2021, probably about December 2021.
Ooh, giving me a 2017 fucking nostalgia moments.
and so, we get, if you were to buy at the halving, let's say this line is perfectly correct, which it will not be.
Mhm.
But let's say it's about $10,000 at the halving, which is, I think, reasonable. Then we pump up to 50,000 by the end of this year. Let's say something like that were to happen. People will be getting on this bandwagon, whether the CME is shorting or not, right? And, if you go by a guy like Tim Draper, who is a VC who bought 30,000 Bitcoin from the government back in like 2011 or 2013.
Good Lord.
He's, he outbid a lot of people to get that 30,000 Bitcoin, but, it was worth it.
Fuck yeah.
And he's guesstimating about $250,000 Bitcoin. And so, you have people like him, he has more rhyme to his reason than McAfee does. McAfee's probably going to be eating
I
his
don't
dick.
trust myself at 250,000 Bitcoin. I want to be fucking driving reverse in a Ferrari down the highway.
Yeah, so, what do you do with what you got now, right? Keep holding.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do if you want to buy in? Cost average in. But anything under $10,000 is a fucking steal when you look at these somewhat realistic numbers compared to historical gains, right?
Nick D
based
has a
on the
pretty
halving.
good question for you. He says, as crypto awareness grows, how much of the halving gains do you think will be increasingly priced in market efficiency? This
So,
guy's he's a fucking smart ass kid in the body language master
I
group.
might have answered one of his questions the last time around, or did he new one? I
No,
don't
he
remember.
came in quarter three. He's
Yeah, I think I remember.
he's the
him.
guy who
Was
made
he
a
at the silver mic?
yeah.
Yeah,
He,
I remember him.
if that's the Nick D that I think it is.
Yeah, he had a good question last time around as well. And we actually answered this question at the beginning of the show. So basically, is the halving priced in? We would like it to be. We would think that the market would be smart enough to anticipate an event like this. But in all honesty, the reason why I use Elliott Wave specifically to chart out Bitcoin is A, because it works for me.
Mhm.
But then B, Elliott Wave is a great way to represent human psychology.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but basically it represents the golden ratio, which is what the universe, what our DNA, what trees, what fucking stocks, what everything that you can measure grows by is Fibonacci sequences, basically. And what Elliott Wave, also puts into a factor is that human irrationality.
Oof.
And so if humans were entirely rational, if a market psychology was entirely rational, then yes, it would be already priced in. Probably the price would be a lot higher than it is now.
Right.
But humans, are illogical, and so is the market.
I'm still fucking freaking out at how creepily accurate this 96,000 is based off of this information.
Yeah, you thought I was fucking nuts.
Dude, I'll be 36. At 36, the way I take care of myself, I'm gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
I'll be just fine with a fuckload of money. I mean, 96,000.
And
How
what-
can?
and what's the worst that could happen, right?
Let me
So-
ask you this: can exchanges liquidate this cash?
Yes, but when you go to the exits, like think of it like a movie theater on fire, right? So when you get to a market that is, let's say, a cost of production for Bitcoin somewhere, let's say after the halving is $8,000, let's say, right? So basically anything over the price of $8,000 would be the market speculation. And so if market is speculating 10 times over the cost of production, that is, a bubble or highly speculative, something's got to give, right? And so it's like when you go to the exits in a movie theater on fire, not everybody's going to make it out on time, or maybe not everybody's going to see the warning at the right time. But if you're the first one to the exit, great, no problem. But if you're on a small exchange that does not have liquidity, meaning they don't have as much money as they say they have, or not enough money to pay out everybody, it's the same as a bank run in 1929. If enough people try to cash out at the same time, it does bring the price down, but then also only a certain amount of people can get cashed out. So one band-aid for that is to have stable coins, which are tied to other assets at a stable price, which is like US dollar tether, USD coin, these things which are tied to the dollar. On an exchange, you can basically freeze your profits at a price, like let's say at 100,000. Then you can get out of your exit slowly, right? You don't have to get out all at the same time because your price is already locked in, or your profit is already locked in with that stable coin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I was explaining that to a few people in consultations recently, and I had to explain it like 2 or 3 times to some people. But luckily on YouTube, if anybody's watching on the replay, you can kind of rewind and get that if you want. But yeah, when you look at it this way, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to look at a lot of different things, and I think we got a good chance at this. On a bad case scenario, let's say the CME shorts the shit out of this. The Federal Reserve keeps printing billions and billions of dollars.
They're going to keep printing money no matter what.
Exactly. That'll prop up the stock market. The one good thing about printing billions and billions of dollars is it has to go somewhere, and even 1% of that will probably end up in Bitcoin eventually, or cryptocurrency, right? And so, for Bitcoin, that's fine. But let's say a worst case scenario is the price stays under 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about that for traders is that the past price action is more, we can guess it easier if the price were to stay under 20,000. So if we were to not make new all-time highs, I would do better trading, right? Because once we break new all-time highs, it's anybody's game. We have no idea where the price is going at after that time, except for based on past predictions, right? Or past examples. But if we stay under 20,000, if that's a worst case scenario, that's good for trading because you can understand where people are going to buy, where people are going to sell, and you can accumulate more Bitcoin that way.
Man.
But even if you just sit on it for a few years, if you look at the yearly lows, it's unlikely that you would lose much if you have patience.
Yeah, it's so interesting, man. I'm so glad to just be involved with cryptocurrency. And I'm glad I held strong in 2019. I had some moments.
I
had a couple of weak moments. I'm like, Charlie, oh my God, should I sell? What the fuck? I lost money. Actually, I didn't lose money at all.
Yeah, the last time you asked, should I sell?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
No, I just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Last was right here.
Yeah.
I think it was exactly on the 23rd as well, or,
Yeah.
at around 7,400. For about 12 hours, you were asking the group, should we sell? And we were basically telling you no.
They remember my meltdown in there.
Yeah. And then the price jumped up, a couple days later. So, Bitcoin rewards the strong hands, weak hands, get out of here. That being said, we do have more area, I believe, down in this area for accumulation before the end of February or the beginning of March.
When do you think we're going to hit 10K? May?
I would say May is reasonable.
And it'll stabilize, you believe?
I think after May, it starts getting, we might have a little bit of a downtrend for a month after May. It's possible after having to have some downtrend, of course.
What do you think?
Going more than 60 days out in the price of Bitcoin, except for the long-term views,
I know, I'm getting
highly speculative.
I'm getting normie on you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. But I see us testing 10,000. Probably the area that you want to look at next after we break 10,000 is this $14,000 to $17,000 area.
Mm-hmm.
I believe sometime in maybe Q3, that area is tested, and then once the all-time high is broken, man, this thing starts going off and running in crazy spurts. You don't want to touch it at that point. You just want to be long on Bitcoin
And how long though? You just want it like
for a year.
really? You wouldn't be tempted, like if you bought a Bitcoin. Let's say you bought a Bitcoin last year at like $5,000.
That's the point. That's why you do this technical analysis. That's why, even if you don't trade, you should at least understand how to absorb the information on this chart, right? What am I talking about? Does it make sense to you? Does it not make sense to you? Is there a key phrase that you can put in Google, quickly learn what it means, and then come back and look at this information again? Go back, review, go back. If you keep doing that, keep doing your own research, but then trying to absorb this information as you hear it. That's how I learned about crypto, right? Over the course of 6 months, for my first 6 months in crypto. If you keep going back and forth doing that, Googling these things, actively learning, and then also coming to people like me and you for questions, then you absorb it pretty quickly. You understand what's going on, and you can understand when people are full of shit or when people are, actually legitimately giving you good information.
Speaking of full of shit, I am correct as saying February is going to be fucking crazy in all aspects of our life. Hang on, I'm writing that down.
Sounds like Cliff High over here.
Sounds like fucking Peter Schiff. I'm writing this down. So I am correct. All right, I'm gonna remember this. I am correct. Says February is gonna be crazy.
Well, that's like saying, a woman's gonna be crazy before her period. It's like, come on. This is guaranteed.
That's a guarantee for sure. That ain't a guarantee. All right. Says February will be crazy. We got you, motherfucker.
I mean, if you said January is gonna be crazy, you only had to pull out a little bit of news about Iran, and that's already crazy enough.
Do you think the Iran news is caused? I think every time there's.
No, it has nothing to do with.
But what about
Bitcoin
with the
price.
North Korea when they launched the shit? Bitcoin went up too.
Yeah, there are a small subset of people who do believe there's a chance that Bitcoin, like gold, is a safe haven asset, which it has had its moments. And if you look at the yearly lows, clearly it's a good savings account.
Yeah.
Right? It's actually a better savings account than any bank in the world will give you. And you control all the money that you have in there. Nobody's going to lend it out to other people.
This guy's saying because every February has been crazy in Bitcoin history. Can we look at the chart and see if that's real? Is that real?
You can make a lot of correlations with these things. I
Well,
think it's
last year
kind of a waste of time.
I don't think last year February was crazy, was it?
Last year February was boring. February went from here. That's when we started this channel when nobody was interested. Right? It was 33,000. 3,300. Up to a high of 4,100, and then stabilized early March. Right? So that's $1,000 increase. Not too crazy.
What about the previous February 2018?
You're giving this guy too much.
February 18th is a fucking massive crash right there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this one was, from the end of the bull market, right? Actually, I bought a big chunk here at 6,000. I took the tax returns I got from our employer and just threw them all back into Bitcoin right here. The double bounce within a couple of weeks, went from 6,000 to 12,000. That was pretty
So
nice.
okay, so February has been crazy in 2018.
Yeah, and I mean, Bitcoin's history is brief enough that you could say anything about almost any particular month.
What about 2017? Let's just go back to that last one. Keep going.
I do have to head out here in a minute.
Oh.
So that's not too bad. 900 to 1,200.
Beginner's luck. I am correct. Beginner's luck. Bunch of numerologists in the chat, says Brent.
Brent's awesome. He calls it like he sees it.
Oh, I love Brent. If only he was as good at gambling as he is as comedy.
Hey, how did those Patriots do? How did those Patriots do? That's the last word I got for today, baby. Go Vikings.
Oh, man. That is hilarious. Did he bet on the Patriots?
All year, baby. I mean, you get 10 wins guaranteed with them a year, unless Brady leaves now. But
Go Titans. Good Lord. All right, boys, that's going to do it. That's our analysis of the yearly highs and lows before the halvening. Obviously, Charlie is extremely bullish. You know, I'm skeptically bullish. I'm not as bullish as I was last year. I don't know what's wrong with me, but you know, I just
the last 2 years have gone down since the all-time high, so that's going to be natural for most people. Yeah.
So I think that I'm just going to piggyback with you and believe 25,000. You know, I'm just gonna just choose because you're smarter than me. This basically.
Well, and like I said, it's like sports. Records are made to be broken, either to the upside or downside. The one difference we do have is the CME, Wall Street, in play here, so that could suppress things. But you're probably not going to lose much money year on year.
Mhm.
I mean, 1 year, let's say from 2014 to 2015, you had to hold an extra year just to double your money, right?
Mhm.
You know, cry me a fucking river.
Mhm.
The way you should look at Bitcoin is it's a wonderful savings account, and you may make more money than you would in an IRA or almost any other type of
Any
investment.
kind of fucking interest on those garbage ass accounts. Yeah, that's true. We got a Go Bears fan in there. Oh, that's pretty funny. I can't say much because the Cowboys lost to the Bears.
Yeah, we lost twice. You know, they got our number.
They're still the Bears.
Yeah, we played our second string and we
Wait,
almost beat them
They won.
at the end of the year.
They won the Super Bowl like one time in like '85, was
Super
it?
Bowl shuffle, baby.
Charlie, you gonna do a show tomorrow?
Hell yeah.
Tony wants to know. So, okay. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for us today, man. Thank you so much for participating and watching us here in the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 42. We'll probably do a year show or anniversary. We got to figure out that. And we'll have a couple of
Oh yeah, that'll be in the beginning of February.
we'll have a couple of drinks on camera and maybe
Have a
eat a
good old
pizza
time.
drunkenly like we did back
Hey
in the
man,
day.
gotta reminisce about those good moments.
So, all right, boys. Thanks so much. Body Language Mastery, the Masculine Empowerment Network webinars are going to be tonight. Charlie might pop in if you guys have some follow-up questions. I'll see you guys. Keep an eye on the emails. And, yeah, until then, we'll see you tomorrow in the interview with the man as well. Take care. Peace out.